Attention passionate Cleveland, BROWNS. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Cleveland Browns' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Cleveland Browns fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Cleveland BROWNS. Let's get to the news. Now, folks, if you've been following the NFL, you know that the Cleveland Browns are in one of the most pivotal moments in their recent history. The offseason has been a whirlwind, full of speculation, high expectations, and a lot of questions about where this franchise is heading. And believe me, the buzz is only going to intensify as we get closer to next year's draft. Because if the Browns have the first or second overall pick, everything changes, especially at the quarterback position, which is always the most critical piece of the puzzle in today's NFL. And let's face it, for Cleveland, this is not just about picking a player. It's about setting the tone for the next decade, about finally finding that franchise quarterback that can lead this team back to the promised land. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, but didn't they just draft Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel in 2025? Yes, that's true. The Browns made a bold move and added these young quarterbacks to their roster, hoping to develop one of them into the long-term answer. But let's be honest, despite the hype around Sanders and Gabriel, neither has yet proven they can be the guy to carry the team through the grind of an NFL season, especially in a division as tough as the AFC North. Cleveland needs stability, consistency, a proven leader under center. And if the team struggles next season, which is quite possible given the rebuilding nature of this roster, they'll be in a prime position to draft a quarterback early again. So, what are the options? Who might the Browns target if they find themselves with a top 2 pick? Well, there's been a lot of talk about emerging names, some familiar, some new. Recently, some NFL scouting analysts and mock draft experts have been speculating about Garrett Nussmeier from LSU. And folks, this could be a very intriguing option. Nussmeier has been a name gaining momentum for the past couple of seasons, especially with his performance at LSU. He's a tall, athletic quarterback with a good arm, capable of making all the throws you look for in a franchise signal caller. But as with any young quarterback, the question remains, is he ready to take that leap into the NFL and be the guy from day one? Let's take a closer look at Nussmeier's journey. He's a Louisiana native, someone who's been through some ups and downs in college, but who has shown flashes of real talent. During the 2024 season, he threw an impressive 52 yards and 29 touchdowns, completing 2% of his passes. That's not just good, it's very good, especially considering the level of competition in the SEC. His decision-making has improved, and he's become more confident in the pocket. But he's also a fifth-year senior now, which means he's been around long enough to understand what it takes to operate at this level. The challenge for Nussmeier, and for the Browns if they consider him, is to show that he can be consistent and make those high-pressure throws under real NFL defensive pressure. And here's the thing, the Browns are not just looking for a stopgap. They want a quarterback who can be their franchise for at least the next decade. Right now, their current options like Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dillon Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders are all potential placeholders, but none of them has firmly established themselves as the long-term answer. This makes the upcoming draft a crucial opportunity to reset that position. However, it's not just about the Browns. The NFL landscape is always shifting, and the draft board is never set in stone. For example, a recent mock draft by ESPN's Matt Miller suggested that Arch Manning, the son of Cooper Manning and nephew of Peyton and Eli Manning, might stay in college for another year. That's a huge development because Manning is widely regarded as one of the most talented quarterbacks of his generation. But his decision to stay in college could impact Cleveland and other teams that are eager to find their franchise quarterback in 2025. This situation highlights how unpredictable the draft can be. Prospects rise and fall based on their performance, injuries, team needs, and sometimes just the whims of NFL evaluators. The Browns, with their 2 first-round picks, are in a prime position to capitalize on this uncertainty. They could target a quarterback early, or they might opt for a different path, maybe bolster the offensive line, strengthen the defense, or add playmakers at other positions. But let's be honest, given the current state of the roster and the importance of the quarterback position, it's almost certain they'll be considering a signal caller early on. And speaking of options, Nussmeier isn't the only name to watch. There's also Cade Klubnik from Clemson, a highly touted quarterback with a strong arm and good mobility. But the buzz around Nussmeier is growing because of his development curve, his size, and his arm talent. He's a player who could fit well into Cleveland's system, especially if they're looking for a guy with a high ceiling and a lot of room to grow. But again, it all depends on how the season unfolds and the draft order. The Browns' coaching staff and front office, led by GM Andrew Berry and head coach Kevin Stefanski, are fully aware of the stakes. They've been building this roster with a mix of veteran experience and young talent, but the quarterback position has always been the missing piece. They've tried different approaches, from trading for Deshaun Watson to drafting young quarterbacks, but nothing has yet solidified that long-term solution. If they land a top 2 pick, it could be the moment they finally pull the trigger on a franchise quarterback, someone who can lead them to consistent playoff appearances and hopefully a Super Bowl victory. And let's not forget how important this is for the fanbase. Cleveland fans have been through a lot over the years. The heartbreak of the 2010s, the hopes raised and dashed, the roller coaster of emotions watching teams fall just short. But there's also a deep passion and a relentless belief that this franchise can rise again. The next few months will be critical in shaping that future. If the Browns do select a quarterback like Nussmeier or another top prospect, it could mark the beginning of a new chapter, one filled with hope, resilience, and the quest for that elusive Super Bowl title. Now, I want to talk a little about the division. The AFC North has become one of the most competitive, physical, and unpredictable divisions in the NFL. You've got the Baltimore Ravens, with their innovative run-heavy offense and a solid defense. The Cincinnati Bengals, led by Joe Burrow, are always contenders when healthy. The Pittsburgh Steelers, with their tough defense and emerging offense, are a team that can surprise anyone on any given Sunday. And then there's Cleveland, a franchise that's been looking for stability at quarterback for what feels like forever. If they manage to land a game-changing signal caller in the draft, it could tilt the balance of power in the division for years to come. Imagine this, a Browns offense led by a young, talented quarterback, complemented by a stout defense and a solid running game. That's a recipe that could make Cleveland a perennial playoff team, maybe even a Super Bowl contender. But it's not just about the draft. It's about the entire organizational rebuild. The Browns have invested heavily in their scouting department, their analytics, and their player development programs. They're trying to create a culture of winning, a culture that can sustain success beyond just a few good seasons. And the quarterback position is at the center of that vision. If they hit big in the draft, it could set off a chain reaction. Better team chemistry, more confidence, and a belief that they're finally turning the corner. Now, I know some of you are wondering about the current roster and how that might impact their draft strategy. Cleveland's defense has been a bright spot, with players like Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, and a promising young secondary. The offensive line has shown flashes of brilliance, but consistency remains an issue. The running game, led by Nick Chubb, is one of the best in the league when healthy, but all of that can be overshadowed if the quarterback position isn't solidified. Without a reliable, franchise-caliber QB, the Browns will continue to struggle against division rivals and playoff-caliber teams. And that's why the draft next year could be the most pivotal in Browns history in recent memory. It's not just about filling a need, it's about changing the trajectory of the franchise. If they take a quarterback like Nussmeier, who has the tools and the potential, they could be setting themselves up for sustained success. But as always, the NFL is unpredictable, and anything can happen between now and draft day. Injuries, coaching changes, player development, all these factors can reshape the landscape completely. So Cleveland fans, stay tuned, keep the faith. The next few months are going to be intense, filled with rumors, predictions, and hopefully some great news. Remember, the Browns are a franchise with a storied history, resilient fans, and a never-say-die attitude. If they play their cards right in this upcoming draft, we could be witnessing the start of a new era, one where the Browns finally claim their rightful place among NFL giants. And trust me, when that day comes, it will be worth every moment of patience and hope. Because in Cleveland, football is more than just a game, it's a way of life. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Cleveland Browns news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. Looking ahead, the Browns front office is undoubtedly eyeing everything from college prospects to draft strategies, trying to find that perfect fit. They're analyzing every game, every highlight, every quarterback's arm motion and decision-making process. They know that a single draft pick can alter the course of this franchise for decades. As fans, our job is to stay engaged, stay hopeful, and keep supporting our team through thick and thin. Because no matter how tough the road gets, Cleveland has always been a city that rises again, that fights harder, and that believes in the impossible. And now, Cleveland Browns fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Cleveland Browns. Do you believe Nussmeier could be the next franchise quarterback? Or do you have your eyes on another prospect? Maybe you think they should trade up or focus on bolstering other areas of the team. Whatever your thoughts, I want to hear them. This is your team, your passion, your voice. And I'll be back soon with more updates, more insights, and more of everything Browns related. So stay tuned, stay passionate, and as always, go Browns.